Listen, I don't care how many signs CDG Airport puts up about winning Airport of the Year. You'll never convince me. Never. Okay? Lies, propaganda, bribery. Hey, party people. This is my wrap up of Paris. I have so many stories about Paris, but I'm going to try to keep it to things that other people outside of me will care about. So let's go. I landed on Saturday, and then Sunday I was scheduled to go work the model casting / final fitting for the Rahul Mishra Couture show. So Sunday I head over to, they have a space that they rent out. Rahul Mishra is based in India, but so they don't have offices / studio space in Paris, but they have a space that they rent out anytime they need to be, doing runway shows, presentations, that sort of thing. So I went over there and checked out the collection, touched base with Shirley, and listen, working Rahul Mishra, for those of you who are not new to my channel, I had backstage access to the fitting last season, back in January. I'm not saying I'm jaded or anything, okay? I'm not saying I'm jaded. What I'm saying is the highlight was meeting one Mr. Stephane Jones, all right? Because Stephane Jones is a milliner. And it's crazy because I just saw his retrospective at the Palais Galliera in January. And I was there and I was like, these hats are amazing. And I met a couple of YouTube followers there. And the exhibit was incredible. His work is incredible. And then I even wrote a whole Substack newsletter post about his design process and everything. And there he is, just chilling. And I'm like, what? And I'm not going to name names, but there was somebody there who did not know who he was, and I almost slapped her. I was like, get out of here. Well, at least out of my presence. How dare you? How dare you? Anyway, so I got to meet Mr. Stephane Jones. Listen, I already met Rahul Mishra. I already told you guys, I think he's very cool. He's very down to earth. He loves to talk about his chicken coops and how to get the best eggs and showing off illustrations his 9-year-old daughter drew. He's a cool guy. And I enjoyed spending some time with him and getting to pick his designer brain a little bit last time. This time I got to sit down with Stephane Jones for a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. And it was really fantastic. Here's the thing. So his studio is in London, and his stuff got shipped to Paris. And whichever assistant did the actual packing and shipping messed up. And so the hats were locked up in customs. And so the show is on Monday at 4, and they were going to be stuck at customs minimum Monday at 8 a.m. if they were going to be able to retrieve the hats at all. And so Mr. Jones just started making everything again from scratch. So when they found out, the week before, this had happened Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the week before I arrived in Paris, he just started getting to work making the stuff again. And listen, do not ever try to convince me that you don't need to know how to make stuff to be a great designer. You can be a designer without knowing how to make stuff, but I don't think you can be a great designer without knowing how to make stuff. And I say this all the time, you don't need to know how to sew every seam beautifully. You do need to know how to put things together, how the construction works. But if you're like Mr. Jones and you can just snip, snap, remake stuff on the fly, of course it goes faster the second time around because he's already made them the first time around. The concepts are already still there and everything, but still. So he's just making all this stuff Sunday afternoon. And oh my God. And, I'm just watching him. there was this one really great moment on Sunday where, so here's a picture of the original outfit and the setup with the veil and everything on this dress. And, you know, Mr. Jones was not really perfectly happy with how that looked. Not the dress, but like how the headdress and head wrap and everything was looking. So he turned the veil upside down so that the beaded part that was, you know, trailing before was on top. And we tried that, or I say we like I was involved. No, he tried that, and then he was like, and then he started wrapping the beaded, you know, chiffon organza around her face. And then he just kind of pinned it and just started testing it out and had the model walk a few times. And then we were like, and he was like, it should be shorter, right? And this is where, you know, I threw in my suggestion for a hem length because we were all chipping in at this point. I said, why not? And that was my great contribution to this conversation because I do not get starstruck, okay? Listen, I do not get starstruck, okay? I was once eating dinner in LA and Jack Nicholson was eating dinner so close to me, I could have spit on him, okay? Not that I would have, I'm just saying he was that close to me and I did not care. I often do not care. But Mr. Jones, listen, I call everybody by their first name, but you can't call Mr. Jones Steven. How dare you? Unacceptable. Anyway, so we start trimming, you know, Rahul is there, they're trimming, they lay it on the floor so they can get like a nice rounded trim, like they're finessing. They're literally making it happen on the fly. And it was so fun to watch the two designers collaborate on this piece. And I think in the end, it turned out really great. You'll see all the runway footage. I think the length was right. You know, the beading was already set, you know, but it was just like that last minute, like, no, we're going to do it like this. We're going to cover the face. Cause that was kind of a theme throughout the whole collection anyway. A lot of face coverings and veils and such. And yeah, that was just so fun to watch the two of them like trim a little, try it out, trim a little more, shape the hem together. Like that was great. And I'm so happy I got footage of that. But yeah, I was watching Mr. Jones a lot, just kind of make things happen, fitting these pieces onto models and just seeing how things shake out. That was really fantastic because on Rahul's part, he finishes the collection in India and brings everything over. So it's not like I could watch him like work his magic, so to speak. So yeah, so that was super fun. And I was helping out on Sunday. I think my big contribution was the corset lacing because I have a lot of experience with not just ball gowns, but like heavy ball gowns and corset lacing and that sort of thing. And that was great. And then, so the whole time we are casting the models and you have to kind of like make slight alterations to each gown to fit the model perfectly because models are not cookie cutter, right? And so as dresses are being finalized and assigned to models, you know, the whole team is doing alterations all along. And then at the end, when all the models are cast, the lineup is finalized. You take all the Polaroids and you just start, you know, lining them up and grouping them. I've discussed designing in groups several times on this channel already. It was definitely a feature in my Watch Me Design a Fashion collection the first season where I discussed designing in groups that work together towards the common theme but are distinct groups like with their own kind of design details and embellishments and color story and things like that. And this is something that is employed by almost all designers. You'll see it all the time. You can give me a collection at random and I'll point them out for you. So, you know, we had them all set up and the layout and which group comes out first. And, you know, Rahul said he wanted to start the show with the gold heart and end the show with the dark heart and, you know, and then everything in between. We just kind of created the flow with the styling team. And this is how designers and stylists work together, because designers, they are creating the dresses, but stylists have like a more overall vision of how the whole piece is going to work, how the whole collection is going to look on the runway, and in the order that they put things together, and how things are going to be styled with accessories and hair and makeup and the specific models and everything. Like, they have a more, overview vision, stylists who work in this capacity. So, it was Rahul, it was the stylist, and all that stuff. And then we put all the gowns or all the outfits in show order on the rack. And we just went through, and it's like, what still needs alterations? What is still good to go? And then we dispersed, doing all the final alterations. And then that was it. And then we just did all the little, I moved a few buttons over because the model was a little bit bigger than we anticipated, whatever, or smaller. I don't even remember. It was such a kind of a madhouse, that sort of thing. We would scoop out hems, if we fitted on a model that would, hems can be shortened. They cannot be lengthened typically. So, trimming a hem here and there. And then, of course, all throughout the day, what is happening is people on the team are contacting celebrities and securing last minute celebrity invites, making sure XYZ celebrity is coming to the show, and if we can send over clothes and what they'll wear to our show, if they can come to our show, all that sort of thing. So that was Sunday, and that was a 10-hour day for me. I know that the team members were there before. They told me noon, so I showed up at noon, whatever, right? And then the next day, we get to the venue, and again, I was told to come at noon because I don't need to be moving furniture for the runway show. I don't need to be setting up lights or anything. I'm there to dress the models and make sure they're looking really great on the runway, and then undress the models as they come off stage. And, Rahul, he does a lot of these, I don't even know what to call them, but there are these giant sculptures, with huge flowers on wires, and they are very heavy. They are very heavy. So you really do, you're supposed to help models get dressed, whether they're wearing a bikini or one of these huge, fantastical 40-pound, sculptures. But yeah, the models really do need help when they are wearing these massive, massive sculptures. And they're basically held up by corsets. And so the corsets really need to have good structure and to be tied properly onto their bodies. And yeah, so I showed up at noon, and, as the models were getting hair and makeup done downstairs, we were prepping all the racks and getting everything ready. And yeah, we dressed the models. I was backstage, so I didn't get to watch the show, but there's so much footage of the shows all over social media. I love being backstage. That's my home. I've mentioned this many times. I watched the Rahul Mishra show last time, and that was really fantastic. They gave me a front row seat. That was all lovely. But I just really like being backstage. That's my home. I was working backstage, and that was fun for me. So, yeah. And then we all went our separate ways in the evening. And then that was Monday. Tuesday, I was invited to the Stephane Rolland show, and that was 2 p.m. or so. So I went over there, and that was really cool. The venue was the Théâtre Champs-Élysées, and it's like a really huge theater, but more like a classic, opera play, musical theater, and not runway. So they built a runway, in a T shape coming towards the audience, and I was sitting in the orchestra second row, and all the tiers were full. It was full. There was a ton of people and I got a great seat. And I actually don't know what I did to deserve that seat, because I'm like, I've never interacted with this brand before. I don't know anyone who works there. Like, I originally got pulled into Rahul Mishra because I'm friends with the head tailor over there. I don't know anyone at Stephane Rolland. I don't know. Maybe they're a fan. Are you watching? Say hi. I don't know. But like, I got invited and it was very exciting. The show was beautiful. It was like a real, I mean, it wasn't just like they come out, they go back in. Like, the beginning part, there was, you know, the I guess the design missive and kind of setting the tone with the first looks. And then you see the orchestra and the music starts. And there's like a very distinct choreography that the models come out in, you know, left, right. And in terms of the clothes, okay, this was a really beautiful show. Both Rahul and Stephane Rolland, they were both beautiful shows, but they were actually like aesthetically like the complete opposites. Whereas Rahul Mishra, he is more simplified shapes, not all, but in general, and a lot of embellishment, just like a crazy level of just intricate, beautiful, dazzling embellishment. Whereas with Stephane Rolland is just not a ton of embellishment. Okay, definitely some architectural, like metallic touches, metal touches really, but very sculptural, really about the shapes and the silhouettes and just things that look deceptively simple. But you know that shit was so hard to drape and draft, okay? Like, just looking at it is like, I bet that pattern looks like a funky chicken, okay? This is why you have to label all your pattern pieces, okay? Because when you have a princess cut sheath dress, anybody who's studied any kind of pattern making can take a look at the pattern and figure out what's going on. But Stephane Rolland's pieces all look like, if you do not meticulously label every single thing, you're SOL. Like, they're very interesting. This white coat with the black beading in the front, which is one of the few embellished pieces, it has me in a death grip, in a chokehold. Like, if I had somewhere to wear it to, honestly, if this was not floor length, if it was like just below the knee maybe, I'd wear it an obnoxious number of times. Like, I'd wear it to places it was exceedingly inappropriate. I'd wear it poolside. I'd wear it walking down the street to pick up my prescriptions. I would just not wear it near any food lest I get anything on the white. Like, and these red pieces, just little known fact about me, I'm extremely picky about reds. My own red lipsticks, red cars, okay? Let me tell you, Mazda makes the best red. I'm not saying they make the best cars. They make the best red for their cars, okay? Just, they have the best red. Don't fight me, all right? I'm so picky. This red is so stunning. And the shapes, beautiful. And it was great. It was great. Let me tell you something right now. My neighbors sitting, in the audience probably hate me because I was double fisting iPhones and I did not care if I was getting in anybody's way. I had one iPhone on my gimbal in my left hand trying to take as steady video footage as I possibly could. And then I had my right hand taking photographs, still photography of the looks as often as I could. But then the Stephane Rolland team actually sent over a PDF of really nice, clean photographs. So I have those too. But anyway, I didn't know they were going to do that. Thanks, team. But I was double fisting iPhones throughout the whole show. It was really great. And just like complete opposite of Rahul Mishra, like a different kind of beautiful. But yeah, it was great. Let me tell you. Okay. This is where Zoe is just like a crotchety old get off my yard, sort of get off my lawn old lady. Because, okay, so the designer, the conductor, the bride, they come out and everybody's clapping. Lovely. I'm not clapping because I'm double fisting iPhones, right? But I'm cheering. Not too loud because I didn't want it caught on camera. I have a job to do, people. I have to shoot this coverage. And then they go back in and everyone starts getting up. And this is when I'm like, I was very close to pulling like cranky Asian auntie and being like, everybody needs to sit down and have some respect. I want to watch the final procession as they go back. Like, I want to see the back views. I want to see the final procession. I feel like this whole thing was choreographed so well. I want to see how they choreograph them going inside. And, you know, all these like whatever influencers are like getting up and snapping selfies and saying hi to each other. And I'm just like, unnecessarily cranky, but whatever. Okay. It was unnecessary, but I had my cranky little moment. I was like, y'all need to sit down and show the clothes a little more respect for 30 more seconds. And, you know, I understand like editors who need to go hit every single show and they have to run off to the next show because on the calendar, this show was not the last of the day. I know there was another show after this. I don't know how far away it was, whatever. But like, I finally get up and pack up all my iPhones and I'm going through the lobby and most people are still there taking selfies with each other. And I'm just like, whatever. The clothes are more important than your selfies. And I stand by that. Anyway, but it was great. Thank you for the show ticket. I love watching that. So Wednesday, what did I do Wednesday? I spent time with my husband. We ate a lot of carbs. We walked around. We shopped a lot. My husband bought a lot of stuff. He bought 2 pairs of pants, 2 t-shirts, a jacket, 2 pairs of shoes. Like, you know, he has a special French shampoo that is the only thing that he likes on his hair. So he bought 2 bottles of for real. He has a Vichy shampoo that is hard to acquire in the US. So, which he got last time we were in Paris. And now he's like, oh, I have to stock up. I've turned him bougie. Okay. I'm going to take the blame for that. Okay. Because I know what he had in his bathroom when I first met him. All right. Anyway. So it's Thursday. Couture week has ended. I am on my way to a private event at the Louvre, and it's a fashion performance event, fashion performance art. I don't know what that means. So we're going to find out together. So I went. My friend wasn't able to go, but we were meeting another friend. So I was with my other friend. And it was a private event at the Louvre. And it was a fashion performance exhibit starring Jordan Roth. And I don't know if you know Jordan Roth. He's an actor, performance artist. He does Jordan TV. I don't know him all that well, but my friends do. And so they were very curious as to, I was very curious as to what a fashion performance art piece means. Okay. I don't know. So I went to go check it out. And let me tell you something. Okay. This might be a little bit TMI, but I'm 45 years old and I had my first ever hot flash in the middle of Jordan Roth's performance in the middle of the Louvre. And at first, I thought I was dying. I don't know why all of a sudden my entire body felt like I was on fire. I'm not going to go into all the gory details, but I really, for a few minutes, I was like, what is going on with me? Am I dying? I was really, for a few minutes, I was dead panicking. And I was so hot. I took off my jacket. Previously, temperature-wise, my body had been feeling perfectly fine with what I was wearing, and my hair was down. Everything was fine. Like, I was feeling perfectly fine up until that moment. I was not feeling uncomfortable in any way whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, I had to take my coat off. I had to pull my hair up and all this stuff. And here's the thing about hot flashes is everybody tells you about the heat. Of course, it's called a hot flash. Nobody warns you about how irrationally angry you get at everything. Okay? And this is not to diss anybody who was there with me or the performance or anything, but you know when you just get super just angry and cranky and just hate literally everything feels like it's stupid, it's pretentious, it's the worst. Like I was like emotions, just the most irrational, irritable emotions had just completely taken over my body. And the performance was over, everyone's clapping. I'm like, oh my God, can I leave now? Can I go find a quiet corner to die? Because at this point, I really felt like something was happening to me. And then I had to network. Like there were people, like interesting people in the industry that I really actually wanted to say hello and have conversations with. Listen, if you met me at the Louvre or you saw me at the Louvre that night of Jordan Roth's performance and you thought, why is she acting like that? Is she always so snobby and standoffish? Just know that I was sweating so much. And, you know, French people love to air kiss in greeting. And I was not about to air kiss anybody sweating that much. So I was trying to avoid people because I didn't want to sweat all over them. Like, no, inappropriate. And so I just kind of meandered off trying to find a cool corner. Yeah, it was awful. And my friend was like, girl, are you okay? You look not great. I'm like, I do not feel great. And she's like, I think you should go back to your hotel room. I'm like, yeah, me too. So my husband didn't go with me. Like, that's not the kind of thing he enjoys going to, which is totally fine. It's definitely a kind of a fashion thing. So I go back to the hotel. And I get there and the AC is blasting in my face. And, you know, the combination of walking around outside and taking the air conditioned train and all that, I had cooled down. And it occurs to me just like a few minutes after I walk into the hotel room, I'm like, I think I just had my first hot flash. Oh my God. So I DM my friend and I'm like, girl, I think I just had my first hot flash. I'm sorry if I was rude to anybody. And she was like, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, thank you. But yeah. So the performance was dead honest. I don't even remember much of it. I'm looking at the pictures. That's what I remember. I took a bunch of pictures because my friend who couldn't make it. Listen, don't feel so bad for my friend. Okay. She is doing the wardrobe for Stevie Wonder's European tour. And she was stuck in traffic on the tour bus with the Stevie Wonder team. And that's why she couldn't make it back to Paris in time for this performance. So don't feel too bad for her. All right. Girl, if you're watching, I love you. But seriously, yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh my God, welcome to middle age. Welcome to perimenopause. Oh my God. So yeah, that was bananas. So here's the thing. My husband works in software and he works in B2B software. And he is currently building a platform that requires him to research retail spaces where there's a lot of retail spaces clustered together, be that shopping areas or malls. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about his current project. And so he was like, can we go check out this mall in Paris? And I'm like, being the dutiful wife that I am, of course, was like, yes, I will go to this mall with you. So you can do some reconnaissance work for your work. So we did that. And Friday morning, I went to the Rick Owens exhibit at the Palais Galliera. The Palais Galliera is quickly becoming my favorite museum. because I did the Stephen Jones exhibit before, the Rick Owens exhibit this time around. Both exhibits were great. I've been a Rick Owens fan forever. You know, I went to fashion school in LA while Rick Owens was working in LA. And so I've been familiar with him from the 90s. And I'm a huge fan of his work. And y'all know I love leather, working with leather. And just, the exhibit was small, but it was jam-packed and full. And I really enjoyed being able to get all up close and personal with the textures. The curation, the way the figures were composed. Somebody has said, well, you know, Rick Owens loves like an overly tall, overly skinny, like insect type figure. And I was like, is that what they were doing? Because they were all on these like really high daises and podiums, and you had to look up. And so these tall and skinny mannequins looked even taller and skinnier than if they had been at eye level. So I think it worked. I think it worked with his kind of work and the kinds of silhouettes he creates and things. And so if you are in Paris or can be in Paris in time for this exhibition, I do highly recommend. It is a small exhibition, but it is really jam-packed full of, you can easily spend an hour or so in there just looking at just, you know, there's just so much trash in the world in general, but also just in fashion, just boring shit. How people, you know, use sustainability as an excuse to make the most boring, tepid burlap sacks. And it's so refreshing to just go look at some freaking beautiful things that are just interesting and different, and things you don't see on the street all the time, things that are impossible to knock off on Shein. And so that was, it was beautiful. I just spent a quiet hour there just looking at everything. Just amazing, incredible. And then I went to the mall with my husband so he could do his research. And then I flew home on Saturday. And I would just like to remind everyone that CDG is a terrible airport. Okay? All those signs that say that they won European Airport of the Year, lies. Anyway, that was Paris. I had an amazing time. Thank you to everyone who extended invitations and opened their doors to me and my camera. I can't believe this is my life now, where I got to go to Paris and attend super cool fashion events and geek out about fashion with a bunch of people, and watch masters like Stephen Jones just whip up designs out of thin air. Just incredible. Like, that was such an incredible experience. And yeah, so little channel business wrap up. If you have been living under a rock the last week and you do not know, I have started a brand new channel. I am starting my own fashion brand, and I have started a new YouTube channel so that I can vlog about my new adventures and starting a new brand. I'll drop the link in the comments and the video description below, but I hope you will join me on the new channel to follow along with those adventures over there. That does not mean I will stop making videos for this channel. However, I might scale back and start doing like monthly videos as I get busier on the other channel maybe. I'm not sure how things are going to go yet, but I am not abandoning this channel. But I'm not going to really be talking much about my brand progress on this channel at all. It'll all be over there at Operation Reentry. So I hope you will support me over there. And as usual, drop your video requests below. Share, like, subscribe, all the good things. And I will see you in the next video.